Enemako Ojoshebe, one of our correspondents covering the protest, now joins us in the studio. Good to have you join us, Enemako.
Good evening, sir.
All right, you were out earlier today in the FCT to monitor the protest. What can you tell us about the conduct of the protesters and that of the security agencies?
Well, it was quite an interesting outing, I would say, when I went on the road earlier today. Now, I didn't quite see any protesters because earlier in the day, from around the morning hours, the security operatives made up of DSS, civil defense, police, military operatives, immigration officials, they were patrolling all over the city, and they had successfully dispersed all the protesters from every location. What it was is that the security operatives don't even want to see any kind of gathering. If they do suspect at all that these people are going to protest, then they disperse them with tear gas, they fire shots and what have you, and then they disperse. So I didn't quite see protesters. So what it was that I saw people, with palpable anxiety and fear, actually. Those who managed to go to work today were hurriedly going back home, and those who I managed to talk to, even behind the cameras, well, there were some of them were indifferent, some of them were scared, some of them said, well, the protest is justified, but that the government shouldn't have done this and all of that. So it was quite a very anxious atmosphere that I felt, and the security operatives. Before I went to three major places in the city. I first of all went to Worcester Market to see what the business activities was there, whether it had picked up or not. But when I approached the authorities, they demanded I must see them first and obtain permission. Then they refused me and the crew to take shots. They refused us to have any interviews and all of that. And one of the officials was actually telling me that if I must be allowed to interview anyone, that I must tell the respondents to say nice things about their activities. And I thought, what is that? Well, we left there. So we now headed to Beggar, on the popular Beggar roundabout, still in Wuse. And it was almost the same thing. There was quite scanty people around, hurriedly going back home from work. And some of them said, well, the protest was good, but that the government shouldn't have, disbanded it and all of that. From there, we now headed on to Nyanya, the popular Nyanya, where you have heavy traffic and all of that. Well, it was a little bit different in Nyanya because more people, the nature of Nyanya and the population, more people were hurriedly returning from work and all of that, but the atmosphere was calm and tense at the same time. A mix of that kind of anxiety and what have you. But it will seem that the security authorities don't want to see anybody gathering for any protest whatsoever. These are the same authorities who had said, okay, you're confined to the National Stadium. Now the stadium, they don't want to see anybody around and what have you. So it was a gamut of confusion and anxiety and all of that put together.
That was exactly the report we got the day before yesterday, and indeed yesterday, to the point that some journalists were injured trying to, flee away from the security operatives. Well, you've been covering this protest for quite some days now. Was there or has there been any form of looting in Abuja? Because one begins to wonder why so much, force on protesters.
The thing is, the excuse the security operatives usually give right from before the protest started is that, no, hoodlums will hijack it, we don't want that and all of that. Well, yes, it's possible. But then that's the reason the police and all the security authorities are there in the first place, to provide security and ensure that this doesn't happen. But in covering this protest so far since day one, I haven't seen any act of looting in the FCT. Because even though there are rumors of how people looted, I haven't seen. And if there were, well, the responsibility of the security authorities is clearly cut out to ensure that the protesters are duly protected in the first place, and then to ensure that those who loot, it is easy because this is their job. It is easy to tell who are the genuine protesters and those who are not, who are there for other ulterior motives. Because those who are protesting genuinely, whom I've been covering since August 1, they are coordinated, they're serious about it, there's no rancor or violence of any sort. So those who foment trouble, of course, the security details authorities know exactly what to do.
reports, unfortunately, we're getting from, some of the suburbs of the FCT, Kurudu, Yanya Axis, Maraba, show that some of the protesters were actually burning tires and, of course, constituting a barricade, on some of the roads. And that has been a serious concern for the security agencies. But then, that's what you can take.
I understand.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Namako Jochikbe, the correspondent covering the ongoing protests. We appreciate your time.
And it's nice to know that you're safe and doing well.
Absolutely, and really appreciate it.